Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'm going to be sharing all the books that I am planning to read in June. If you haven't watched any of my TBR games before, if you don't know the rules, then do not worry because the rules are pretty simple. I have a TBR game board that is kind of loosely inspired by Cluedo, and I roll a dice to get a genre, and then I pick a card to get a prompt, and then I pick a book that matches both the genre and the prompt. This month I am also planning to take part in WhateverAthon, which is a readathon that's hosted by Maddie from Book Browsing Blog. I'll leave a link to her announcement video in the description if you would like to find out more, but essentially the idea behind the readathon is that you read whatever you want, but there's also prompts and teams, and so if you read books that match certain prompts, then you can earn points for your team. It took me a while to decide what team I actually wanted to join, but I have decided to join Team Epic and High because I feel like I'm in the mood to read a lot of epic and high fantasy in June. I also thought the name was kind of funny. I thought maybe I could make some jokes about being epic and high, even though I am neither of those things, but maybe I'm just immature. Before I get into the roles, I did just want to say I promise I haven't cheated in this game. I mean, it's my TBR game, so if I want to cheat, then I will cheat and you will never know. But I promise I didn't actually cheat. You'll see as we get into the videos that the roles were very much in my favour this month, which not complaining about, but yeah, just thought I would mention it. Usually I pick 5 books in my TBR game, but this month I'm going to pick 6 because I didn't technically complete my May or April TBR, I don't think. I don't know, my memory's not great, but I'm pretty sure that I'm due to take punishment, so that's what I'm going to do. I have pledged 8 books for WhateverAthon, and usually each month I read 10 books, but because I'm planning to read a lot of epic, adult, high fantasy this month, I didn't want to put that pressure on myself, and yeah, like I said, on average I think I tend to read between 8 and 12 books, so 10 on average, but if the books I'm reading are longer, then obviously I read less, and so yeah, I'm picking 6 books today, and then that still gives me the space to mood read if I want to. I like to have a few spaces free anyway, just so that I can mood read. I like having a TBR because it gives me a bit of structure, but it's nice to be able to just pick books up when I want to, so we'll see how it goes next month, but I'm going to stop rambling and let's go with role number 1. Okay, so here we go with role number 1, which is a 1, which is thriller. And the prompt is BookTube favourite. So as you will have seen, for role 1 I need to pick a thriller that is also a BookTube favourite, and for this I had a look on my Kindle to see what books I already own that I haven't got round to reading yet, and the book that stood out to me was When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole. I think this came out last year or earlier this year, and I've seen quite a few people talking about it, and it does seem to have mixed reviews, but I think it sounds like the kind of thriller that I would enjoy. I believe it follows a woman who lives in this neighbourhood that is being gentrified, and all of the black people in this neighbourhood are moving away, supposedly to the suburbs, but this woman starts to investigate and she starts to learn that there might be something more sinister going on. I haven't actually read anything by Alyssa Cole, but I know that she's an author that writes across many different genres, so I'm really interested to see what I think of her writing style. I've tried to avoid looking at too many reviews for this book because with thrillers I do like to go in not knowing too much, because I feel like a lot of the fun with thrillers is getting to know the plot as you go along. But I have heard a few people say that this starts out as a romance, or it has that romance type feel. I don't know if that's right, obviously I haven't read the book yet, but I know that Alyssa Cole is quite well known as a romance author, and I like romance, so I'm really interested to see what I think of this. Okay, so role number 2 is a 2, which is my choice, and the prompt is a TBR vet. So as you will have seen, for role number 2 I need to pick a TBR vet, which basically means a TBR veteran, so a book that has been on my TBR for a really, really long time. And the book that I've decided to go for is Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. The genre, did I mention, was my choice, so I can pick whatever genre that I want, and I don't know what genre this would fit into. Would it be historical fiction? Not really sure, but this is a library copy, as you can see. That's why it's very shiny, and it needs to go back at some point in June, so I do want to read it before then, because this has been on my TBR for a really, really long time. All I really know about this is that it's a Greek myth retelling, and it tells the story of Achilles and Patroclus, I think is how you pronounce it, and it's set during the Trojan War, which I'm pretty sure I vaguely remember learning about the Trojan War when I was in school, but I don't don't know the full story, and I have heard that this is quite a close retelling, so I don't think I want to look it up until after I've read the book. I mean, I was going to say I don't want to spoil myself for this book, but I think it's quite hard to spoil yourself for something that actually happened in history. But I thought it might be quite interesting to read this book and then look up the actual story afterwards and see how they compare. But yeah, lots of people have told me that this is probably going to make me cry because it's very sad. So I'm anticipating that now. Now that people have told me that it's going to make me cry, I'm going to be waiting for that moment. So maybe it won't make me cry. I don't know. I have been reading a lot of very emotional books recently. I was actually talking to some of my uni friends recently, and I was describing all of the books that I've been reading recently. And they said, Sam, do you ever read any happy books? And it made me think, actually, when was the last time I read a happy book? Can't actually remember, but yeah. We will see if this does actually make me cry. Role number 3 is a 4. Can you see that? Which is fantasy, and the prompt is mood read. So role number 3 actually came up as mood read, and the genre is fantasy. So what this means is that throughout the month, if I want to read a particular book and it happens to be a fantasy, then I can, which is pretty perfect for the readathon, considering I'm going to be reading a lot of epic and high fantasy, and sometimes I'm in the mood for something specific, but I have decided to pick out a book for this prompt that I'm in the mood to read now. But if I decide to change the book later on in the month, then I won't get a punishment for that if I don't end up reading this book, if that makes sense. But the book that I am initially going to be adding to my TBR is The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson, which I am so scared to read this book. It is book 1 in the Mistborn series, and it will also be the very first Brandon Sanderson book that I have ever read, and I'm scared because everyone tells me that Brandon Sanderson's writing is amazing and that he's really good at world building and magic systems, and I have actually read the first chapter of this book. I did try a chapter challenge a few months ago, and I really liked the first chapter in this book actually. The writing style wasn't as dense as I thought it would be, and so even though it's quite a chunky book, I don't think it's going to take me as long to get through as I was expecting or as I'm expecting. So this book is set in a world where some people can get magical abilities from ingesting metal. I always say eating metal, and I don't know if that's the same thing, but I always say eating metal, but I'm pretty sure that the right way to say it is ingest metal. But this book, yeah, is set in a world where you have this magic and where you have Mistborn who can ingest all of the different types of metal, and then some people can just ingest one type of metal to get one magical ability. And you're following a guy called Calcia who is putting together a group of Mistborn to take down the evil Lord Emperor, the ruler of this world. And the tagline for this is, "What if the Dark Lord won?" So that is essentially the idea behind the world, is that it's set in this place where the Dark Lord did win. This is a 5-star prediction because I'm pretty sure that I'm going to enjoy it. My cousin has read this series and she's been going on at me for a while to read it because we do have very similar taste in books, and especially in fantasy books. So if she likes something, then I do tend to like it too. I really hope I do love this book and this series, because if I don't, then I don't know how I'm ever going to show my face on BookTube again. This would also give me points for WhateverAthon because it's one of the host's favourite, and so even more reason to read it in June, even though I'm scared. Next role is a 4 again, which is fantasy, and the prompt is a beautiful cover. So as you will have seen, for role number 4, I need to pick another fantasy, and this time I'm picking a fantasy with a beautiful cover, and the book that I've decided to go for is Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne, which there's a funny story behind this book because I actually have an advanced copy of this book through NetGalley. It's already out. It came out at the start of May, I think it was, and when I requested the ARC, it was a while ago, and I didn't know a lot about this book. All I knew is that the cover was really pretty and it has a dragon on it, and I love dragons, so I requested the ARC, not really expecting to be approved because John Gwynne is a really popular author and I know that this was a really anticipated fantasy book for this year. But yeah, I got an email about 2 weeks before it was released saying that I'd been approved, and so I thought, okay, wow, cool, like that's amazing, but I didn't have time to read it before the release date, so I'm going to get round to it hopefully in June. I mean, not even hopefully in June, this is going to be a priority for June because I do want to write a review because I have the ARC. Can't really tell you much about this book other than it's a Nordic inspired fantasy, and I've heard from reviews that it's very character driven. Also, I'm assuming it has dragons in it because of the cover. And let's be honest, that's all I really need to know. Okay, so I think, is this roll number 5, which is a 4, again, another fantasy, and the prompt is a dark cover. This is what I meant earlier when I said that I promise I didn't cheat with any of these rolls, but for roll number 5, I need to pick another fantasy, but this time I need to pick one with a dark cover. And the book that I've decided to go for is Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nian, which I have on my Kindle. I think I bought it a few months ago, and it's also a book that's on my top 10 books or top 10 series of 2021. That makes no sense. It's on my list of top 10 series that I really want to start in 2021, so I'm going to be glad to actually tick this off my list. I believe that this is set in a world where you have this demon king, and every year a group of girls are chosen to be his paper girls, which are basically his concubines, I think is the right word. And you follow a human girl called Lei, I think is how you pronounce it, and she is chosen to be one of these paper girls, but she ends up falling for one of the other paper girls, and together they work together to bring down this demon king. Really looking forward to this one because I have actually read one of Natasha Nian's other books. I read The Elite when it came out, so we're talking about 7-8 years ago, I think it was, because I actually used to follow Natasha's blog like back in the days, back when I first started blogging, and I can remember that I enjoyed The Elites. I can't really remember much about it now, but I know that Girls of Paper and Fire is more popular, so I'm really interested to see what I think of it. Okay, so here we go with the final roll, which is a 4 again, and the prompt is continue a series. And so for my final roll, as you will have just seen, we have another fantasy. It's almost like the dice knew that I wanted to be reading lots of fantasy this month, and I'm not complaining, definitely not complaining, but this time the prompt was to continue a series. So for this, I'm a little bit stuck because I'm currently reading The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, and I am enjoying it. And so I'm anticipating that maybe I'm going to want to read The Dragon Republic, the second book in the series, quite soon. So I might put The Dragon Republic on my TBR. But then I'm also, as you will have seen earlier, planning to read the first book in the Mistborn trilogy next month. So I don't know whether to just pick up the second book in that series instead. But I don't know, because my Mistborn book was technically a mood read, so I could do some swapping around. I don't know, but yeah, for now I'm gonna pick The Dragon Republic as my book for prompt 6. As I said, I am currently reading The Poppy War, which for anyone who doesn't know follows a girl called Rin, who is a war orphan, and she lives with her guardians in this village where she's not treated very well, and they try to marry her off to this much older man, which she obviously doesn't want, and so she convinces them to let her take this exam, which they only allow her to take the exam because they don't think that she's actually gonna pass it, but she does. She passes this exam, and it means that she gets into her country's most prestigious military academy. So the book follows her as she moves away to this school, and she starts her lessons, and you see the way that her classmates treat her, and she faces a lot of prejudice because of the colour of her skin, and because she's a girl, and because she's from the south, which is much poorer. I'm about 40% of the way through the first book at the moment, and I am really enjoying it. It's very compelling, and it's definitely drawing me into the story, and I'm finding that when I'm reading it, I'm really struggling to put it down. I do have a few issues with it though at the moment, which I don't want to go into in this video, but I do have a reading vlog coming soon at the end of this week or start of next week. So if you're interested in my thoughts on The Poppy War, then look out for that vlog coming soon, because yeah, it's an interesting one. But those are the 6 books that I'm planning to read in June, and because this is TBR Cluedo, and in Cluedo you make predictions about stuff, I am going to make a prediction as to which book I think I'm going to rate the highest in June, and I might regret this, but I am going to go for The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. I feel like I might be setting myself up for a fail here, but I am confident. I know that I seem really like on edge about this book, but I am confident. I'm just nervous. I've said that a lot in this video. I'm scared of this book. Why is this book so terrifying? But we will see. We will finally see, hopefully, at the end of next month, what I think of it. Let me know in the comments if you have read this book and what you thought of it. Let me know as well if you didn't like it, because I don't think I've actually seen any negative reviews for this book. I don't think I've seen any negative reviews for any of Sanderson's books, or at least not the first books in the series. Obviously, I haven't read any reviews for later books in any of his series because I don't want to see spoilers. But let me know what you thought of this book if you have read it, and let me know if you think I might like it. I mean, I don't know why you would know if I would like it or not. we can't predict these things, but yeah, this is the book that I think I'm gonna rate the highest in June, but we will see. Okay, I think that brings me to the end of the video. So thanks for watching if you've made it this far. If you're taking part in WhateverAthon, then please let me know in the comments what team you're on, especially if you're on Team Epic and High. Let me know what books you're planning to read and if you're planning to read any of the same books that I am planning to read. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it and click subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you next time. Bye.